Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News Channel.
Our next guest is a lawyer and the National Legal Advisor of the All Progressive Congress. He's here to speak on the last National Executive Committee meeting of the ruling party and what led to its decision to change the mode of primaries for the election of candidates for the 2019 election. He will also address the statement by President Muhammadu Buhari on the subordination of the rule of law to national security. Joining us on the morning show is Babatunde Kwame Ogala. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome on the morning show.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for joining us
today. Good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you were at the Nigerian Bar Association conference in Abuja.
Sure, yes.
How did that go? How will you assess the promise of the new executive and then the entire event?
Promise of the new executive might be difficult to speak on. First, the three candidates for the presidential elections all made promises upon which members were convinced to make the choice we made. So, as for promise, we'll see how they hit the ground running. It's when they hit the ground that will count. Of course, for us to have invested our faith in Paul Lusoro, that means, you know, we find something useful in the message it passed across to us. And we can say it looks promising based on the promises he made.
But the event itself, the main conference, the 58th NBA conference.
The 58th conference could have been better organized, coming from what we had last year in Lagos, where the conference was held, the organization, the preparation, and what we had in Abuja. It was a far cry from where we're coming from. Organization could be better. The quality of materials in the build-up, we didn't know what subjects there were. There were no programs. I, for instance, for my level, paid 300,000 naira to register, and all I got in return was just a Nigeria folder, a notepad, and one biro. I don't have copies of the papers that were presented. I mean, nothing, compared to where I came from in 2017.
Well, the NBA issued a communique.
Yes.
And one of the issues raised in that communique was what I'll call a veiled admonition of the president, a reaction to the statement he made at the opening ceremony on Sunday, when he more or less said the rule of law, you know, can be suspended for national security reasons, and made statements relating to the intention of the government of the day to suspend fundamental human rights.
You are the one who is saying that. Nowhere did the government say its intent or the president.
No, that's the interpretation.
It's your interpretation.
Anyway, deal with the issue of whether national security is more important than the rule of law.
What I want to say here, and I am careful in reacting to this, being a member of the NBA and having been part of that conference. But however, we should not lose sight of the Supreme Court decision, which as of today is law. And the case is Asarudo Dokubo Asari versus Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's a reported Supreme Court decision where the Supreme Court said where national security is threatened or there is real likelihood of it being threatened, human rights or individual rights of those responsible take second place. I am quoting Justice Muhammad.
No, can you go? Sorry, can you go four sentences earlier than where you started from?
Can you you can bring up your own position, but listen to mine. Okay. That is what human rights, or it says human rights or individual rights must be suspended until national security can be protected or taken care of. This is not anything new. I'm reading. The corporate existence of Nigeria as a united, harmonious, indivisible, and indissoluble sovereign nation is certainly greater than any citizen's liberty or right. Once the security of this nation is in jeopardy and it survives in peace rather than in peace, the individual right, liberty or right may not even exist. I have quoted the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Muhammad, as it then was. That was what
I was trying to draw your attention to something.
If you can read what you have, you won't tell me what to go and read.
No, just
you
hold
said
on.
I should go for what before. But I have quoted copiously. So the understanding here is that this is the law. Perhaps, maybe because he's the president, we did not expect he should be the one to reiterate the law. Maybe, perhaps. So for me, I do not think, yes, you might say, oh, because he's president, perhaps he should be more diplomatic, he should play more of politics with it. But my understanding is the president was being direct about what the law is. That is the law. And that is what we, as a body of, as a people, should concern ourselves, criticize this, and perhaps, maybe at some point, get the Supreme Court to reverse itself on this decision. The president said national security. And I personally agree with him. Our collective security.
Allow me to interject.
Okay, interject.
And I was going to draw your attention to the fact that that same judgment that you read,
yes,
the judge there, the justice, said also that it is only the court of law that can take such decisions. If you must abrogate from the rights that are under Chapter 4, only the court of law can so determine. It's not for the executive to determine which rule of court, which court judgment you should respect or not.
Reuben, now you've gone to something new.
No, it's the same. It's within the same province. That's why I was saying go a little bit up.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Respect of court orders is not the issue you raised. So don't let us bring in matters that are unrelated to whether...
No, both are related.
No, sorry, sir. Whether, the question is, we're addressing, is whether these individual rights can be subjugated to national security.
And the law says...
If it must be subjugated, who determines that?
And this says the law as of today. Who determines whether I should be detained by the police? That is where we have laws. That is why we have laws on fundamental rights. That is why the provision has provided. That is why we have the courts. If indeed the president or indeed the executive subjugates your rights or infringes on your rights, the courts are open. We cannot be talking in a vacuum. What the president has said, where the rights of where national security is threatened and your rights will be subjugated. If you feel it is wrongly subjugated, the courts are available for us.
Okay.
We should not make mountains out of molehills.
Okay.
That's why the courts are there. That's why there are thousands of courts on fundamental rights in the courts. Because rights are continuously infringed, and they will continue to be, including me even infringing on your own rights. If I walk in here, lock this door and say, nobody should leave
Ogala,
here, that is
Ogala, let me again simplify the question.
Yes.
Should the rule of law be subordinated to national security?
So says
and who determines national security?
So says the Supreme Court. So says the law.
By the same president that has refused.
So says the law.
That has refused in the case of Dasuki and in the case of Zakzaki to respect the court. You can't cherry pick.
Excuse me, sir.
You can't be putting the court in one hand and on the other hand you are disobeying the court.
Excuse me, sir. If the president or the executive, more often than not, we tend to personalize. For obvious reasons, I understand the politics of that, where you have to personalize to the president. I know the politics. That is politics. But talking law, where the rights of Zakizaki or Dasuki are being infringed, honestly, the lawyers to Dasuki, lawyers to Zakizaki know what to do. The law makes provision for disobedient consequence or disobedience of court order. And look, let them do what they're right. It's not about going to the media or how often you go to the media. Why are we not talking about the Boko Haram suspects who are being held in various detention facilities? What makes Zakizaki or Dasuki superior to them?
Well, there were also two journalists who were detained for 2 years.
Abiri was detained for 2 years. I asked the question, if Abiri was wrongfully detained, what stopped Abiri from instituting actions in courts? He has lawyers. Abiri is a seasoned journalist. He's experienced enough to know that he could have filed fundamental rights application. If he was granted at the High Court, we have no records that he was ever granted.
Anyway.
Sorry, Reuben. We have no records that he ever approached the courts. And he had the High Court, he had the Court of Appeal, and he had the Supreme Court. Why did he not go there if he felt? I mean, can we cry more than the bereaved?
But you also know...
A man is locked up.
You also know...
Sorry, a man is locked up, he's comfortable with being locked up, and here we are saying he's wrongly locked up.
You also know that a lot of persons are detained without trace.
Without
trace.
You know,
they
I
just
don't
pick
know.
people up and detain them.
You are telling me that.
Oh, you should know.
Why should I know?
You worked in the media before.
I've not. I worked in the media.
You know what goes on in this country.
I left the media some 23 years ago as legal, and I was a legal advisor.
You've not been following the news since then.
You have said so. You said people are detained.
No, just
the burden is on you. It's not on me.
No. I'm not done yet with the NBA thing. The NBA in that communique also talked about the abuse of executive orders by the presidency.
I also read that.
And that those executive orders are usually used to circumvent court orders.
Look,
and it sounds like a decree-making process and an abuse of privilege.
That is where even my professional session, which ought to be like the conscience of the nation, we are supposed to uphold rule of law and defend it. Why have we refused to challenge any of these orders? Look, it's the opinion of lawyers. It's our opinion. Just like NUJ could say the same thing, or NMA could say the same. But if we feel so strongly, as lawyers, we should not just... I mean, I'm sorry, I'm a lawyer, and I have to say this. The NBA communique was sounding too much like a political statement. Why has NBA not gone to court? The first president is one of us, who has even signed some of the orders. The Attorney General is one of us. All members of our executive, members of our highest policy-making bodies in the profession. Why can't we test these things in court? Why should NBA? I mean, for me, I don't agree the Nigerian bar should be carrying on using the media as if we are NUJ. If these executive orders, 1, 2, 3, I think there are about 6, 7 of them now that have been issued, please, ease of doing business was an executive order. You must register the company within 24 hours. Executive order. Visa at point of entry, they are executive orders. So we specifically are the ones that we are talking about here. I mean, we cannot cherry pick.
I ask
whichever one we feel will border on decree making or infringing on rights, please let us go to court. I ask the question again. I ask you, Reuben, what is wrong in issuing an executive order that you can issue visa at the point of entry for ease of doing business? What is wrong with an executive order?
That's not the one they complained about.
Sorry, sir.
They complained about the ones relating to disobedience of court orders.
Give me the specifics.
No, I'm not the one on the chair. You are the one on the hot seat.
But you are the...
No.
Reuben.
No, when you sit here and I sit there,
Reuben,
you can question me.
Let me quickly correct you.
I'm the one asking you questions.
Let me quickly correct this.
Yes.
Honestly, this is one of the coolest chairs I've sat on.
Be careful.
So it's not,
Be careful.
It's not for me hot.
So it's not
when it gets hotter, I don't want you to fall off that chair.
It's not even hot. It's not even hot.
I don't want you to fall off the chair.
It's not hot at all.
No, one more question.
Honestly, your studio is quite cool. So it's not hot at all. So if you say there are executive orders that border on breach of rights, that border on decree making, let's go to the specifics of those orders, then we discuss them. I cannot just be arguing in a vacuum. But I've given instances that the executive order on the ease of doing business, please fault it.
No, the NBA said if it relates to good governance and processes of governance,
which one is
they have no issue with that.
Which one is not?
Anyway,
so
you were at the conference.
Ones that are anti-good governance, let us face them, challenge them, not just make blanket statements.
One more question from the NBA conference.
Yes.
I mean, it's quite a long communique, but I think this is also relevant for the benefit of our viewers. Now, the NBA is also saying that the relevant laws should be reviewed to ensure that the qualification, the academic qualification for those seeking elective office, you know, that the level is raised. So that we don't have to keep worrying about missing school certificates and all of that. You know, once people have higher qualifications, they think that it will help the governance process. Is academic qualification really the issue or not?
For me, the issue is our national orientation as a people.
Our national orientation.
As a people. And I'm talking about us collectively. It is, you don't legislate good behavior. You don't legislate good values. You inculcate those. Look, we talk about corruption. Where does corruption start? it starts from your home. From the day you start teaching your child not to go to school to lie to the teacher. It goes on in the church, where the day you attain public office, the church, the mosque, your family, you are conferred with meaningless chieftaincy title for some naira, some worthless doctorate. You know I have well over 200 doctorate degrees now, all for 250, 200,000.
Oh, no,
if I could pay, what else can they be? Did I go to school to? I mean, and what qualifies me is how much if I can pay for it.
Okay.
Oh, chieftaincy titles. If I was going to be a chief, mine would not be high chief. I would have been highest chief or something higher than that. But those things are meaningless. I'm simply Mr. Those things mean nothing to me. So that is part of where the values have gone wrong. It's about values, unless and until. Look, I was privileged to sit with Lee Kuan Yew, the then Prime Minister of the modern Singapore. We sat down and we asked the question, how did you get Singapore right? He said, first, a benevolent dictatorship. Two, he said, we have to make Singaporeans out of Singaporeans. It is not enough that I call who is a Nigerian? The Nigerian is the one who says, I'm a Nigerian and carries some 16 sheets of paper called the passport, or one card called the national ID card, or voter's card, and what have you, where I can change my identity overnight, where I don't feel Nigerian, where I don't propagate Nigeria, when it is convenient is when I call myself a Nigerian. So who is a Nigerian? So we need to first get our values right, make Nigerians of Nigerians. It is only then. You don't legislate, you don't have to go to school. Some people, some of the greatest leaders of this country, the great entrepreneurs, they don't even go through the 4 walls of the classroom, and they espoused very high values. And then look at those, even the quality of those who are all over the place, corruption, who corrupt the system, professors.
Okay, let's talk about the APC.
The doctorate, the
let's talk about APC.
Like Reuben, lawyers like my humble self are all on trial for several reasons. So it's not about education or qualification. Even unconsciously and it's unwritten. You can hardly be anything in this country. Be it governor, be it minister, be it commissioner. It's unwritten without being a graduate as a minimum level.
Anyway, let's talk about the APC. You are National Legal Advisor of the All Progressives Congress.
Yes.
Your party seems to be in disarray
Really?
over the mode of election, the mode of primaries, whether it should be direct or indirect.
Yes.
Is it that the party is not governed by regulations, by law?
No, I think I need to, I don't know what you mean by, what do you mean by disarray? That a school of thought says we prefer this system, and another school says we prefer that. How does that constitute being in disarray, Mr. Dr. Abati? Our party
what exactly is happening in your party?
Our constitution is clear, and I speak here as a lawyer, as a legal advisor, but I don't speak for the party, because I don't have the mandate to come and speak for the party. So we need to put that in perspective. But I will express an opinion to you. Our party constitution is clear. The Electoral Act, which gives life to the party, and of which our own constitution even assumes a status of a subsidiary legislation, provides for direct or indirect. And it states the procedure for either of both. Our constitution also permits it. So what is the disarray? A school of thought says, oh, the working committee says we prescribe direct primaries. The school of thought says, no, we think indirect is better. It is about disagreement, and at some point, we have a common ground. So what is the disarray?
Well, I've been reading in the papers, people holding side meetings. Like yesterday state chairman held meetings, and they said they were going to insist on indirect primaries. And that nobody should talk about direct primaries.
How can they tell you, how can anybody tell you, nobody, that you are the one who is talking about fundamental human rights, and somebody sits down somewhere and said I should not talk about what is my own wish? Majority will have it way, but we'll have healthy debates like we've been having healthy debates. And we agree about the common ground, and we move on. I don't see any problem whatsoever.
But Lagos is your political base. Lagos is your political base. Now, and I guess you are one of the disciples of Asiwaju Tinubu. There are some elements in the APC.
I think we also need to be careful in choice of words.
Wait, let me finish.
We are not talking religion here, disciples and discipleship.
Anyway, there are people.
It's my political leader. I mean,
okay,
yeah.
Your political leader.
Yes.
Some people are saying your political leader is the one insisting on direct primaries.
Yes.
Whereas other governors and other members of the party want indirect primaries, and that they do not want him to impose his will on the party at the national level.
Yes.
What is the true situation?
I don't know. You are the one who heard. How did he hear?
No, it's in the papers. It's reported.
It's in the papers. I mean, the Governor Ashaji Tinubu has not told me that. Neither has any governor sat down to tell me that, oh, I mean, the governor of Lagos said, in the last week I've met no fewer than 10 or 15 governors that I've had calls to, and none of them have told me that the reason I want indirect primaries is because I'm fighting Ashwaji not to impose his will. Neither has Ashwaji.
No, nobody will say that. But you know that there is the inside story. I want you to give us the inside story.
Well, maybe I'm not inside. Maybe I'm not inside. You are inside. So
no, I'm not a member of your party.
But you know the inside story.
No, these things are in the public domain.
So then there's no longer inside. In one breath you say it's inside story, in another breath you say public domain. I mean,
no. So, don't play games with this.
Neither should you play games with me.
No, don't play games with this.
Put words into my mouth.
Okay. The Lagos APC is factionalized. Which of the factions do you belong to?
I don't know of any faction in
No, there's the Tinubu faction. There's the Fuad faction.
Excuse me, Reuben, let's get serious now. Reuben, let's get serious.
Okay.
Reuben,
If you say it's not factionalized.
It is unfair when you say such things.
We have had persons on this program who have talked about factions.
I can sit down here. It depends on what side of the bed I wake up on and what audience you indulge me, and tell you tomorrow I have an Ogala faction, which could consider me my son and my driver. It's a faction. I just pronounced it. So because I've pronounced it, it becomes a faction. Then anybody who is upset with losing elections or losing relevance or losing whatever, then we will have over 100 factions.
Okay, let's talk about the
on record of APC, there were congresses held in Lagos. The party sent a Congress committee to Lagos, headed by Senator Ikunife from Anambra. She conducted her Congress, submitted the report. We have a list of those who sought nomination forms. You do not say, oh, I'm forming a faction, I'm factional chairman, factional secretary, when you did not even obtain nomination form to conduct elections.
Okay.
And yet you say you are not, you are cheated out of an election. That you did. What is your locus, Reuben? I'm looking forward to you coming to the
I'm
law.
a journalist.
I'm looking for you to, you might deceive those you want to deceive, you know, not me. But we are looking, your space is waiting in the law school. So that's okay. So that you can hone this better. And you are letting it get too late to go to the law school.
No, this is not about me.
So you see, so for me, it's about locus, it's about, look, anybody can be a rabble-rouser and call anything he's doing. I can get my son, including Dr. Reuben Abati, and, Ijoma and Deb. We'll sit down over some bottles of beer. Maybe when I get a little bit tipsy, we'll take a group photograph and say, these are my factional members. Please, in Lagos, on record, there is one APC led by Honorable Tunde Balogun as chairman. Any of the, the National Secretariat is there. You do not say you form a faction in and around your local neighborhood and not approach NEC meeting. We had a NEC meeting last week. State chairmen and members of the NEC. Which chairman was there?
You tell me.
Tunde Balogun was the chairman. Well, was the one present accredited by the national body as the chairman of APC Lagos State. Just like you are talking, you could well say Buba Galadima, who says, who is the impersonator or the impostor, who says he has a contraption called our APC, which is passing off on the name of our party, a registered body. You could well also say
Galadima an impostor.
Is he not?
All right, I wish we had more time on this segment.
What is it, Reuben?
I wish we had more time. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on this segment.
Thank you very much.
Really,
it's my pleasure.
Yeah, I had more questions to ask you, but you both had like a good heated argument, which
there was no argument.
Really,
at least he survived. He survived on the seat.
Reuben is, you know, I know Reuben is mischievous. I knew he was going to pinch me.
all right.
And
Well,
for him, I made sure I cut off some things I needed to do yesterday.
very good.
So I can have clear eyes to tackle it.
Very good.
Thank you very much for coming to the
It's my
morning show.
pleasure.
That's all from Babatunde Kwame Ogala. We'll take a short break now. When we return, Nigerian politician Alex Oti will be joining us in the studios. Stay with us.